Welcome to Pin Moving with the boys. Welcome everyone to a very, very special podcast. We have Scott Stokely here today. Thank you for joining us. Dave, as always. Ian.
Thank you.
Scott, welcome to Utah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We love it here.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, Utah is. Look, I don't say this in every single state. I promise. We travel full time. We've been to all lower 48 multiple times in the last couple of years. We've been to every state.
Mm-hmm.
Utah and Idaho are doing the best in the whole country. I think it's hard to even argue that whatever's happening here is better than anywhere else. I'm not even sure that it's better than it's not like it got better in the last 10 years. It's kind of like everything else spiraled down, and Utah and Idaho are kind of just doing what they were doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which now by comparison is just better.
Yeah. Well, you
crushing.
You lived in Colorado for how long?
25 years.
And you were saying Colorado's not as beautiful as Utah?
It's not that it's not as beautiful. It's just it's kind of dropped. I mean, it's just dropped off a little bit.
Okay.
Just like just the world's gotten weird.
Yeah.
And it's changed less here.
Yeah.
Like even the Midwest is kind of like doing like by comparison. Like we used to joke about. Like I don't know. I'm gonna pick a random state. Like when I grew up, like in California, we'd make fun of like life in Iowa. Like what do these people do in Iowa? They wake up, they get their kids ready for school, they take their kids to school, they go to work, they get off work, they go to their kids' soccer practice, they have dinner, watch some TV shows. Like oh my god, that's so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, compared to a lot of places in the country, it's like, oh my God, that's like the dream.
Yeah.
Because so many places in the country, like, it's like, wow, I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I love Utah.
I love it too. I grew up in Colorado, that's why.
Where in Colorado?
Kind of all over. We spent a good amount of time in Denver and just outside of Denver in Conifer, Colorado.
Yeah, I know Conifer very well.
And then we moved to Steamboat when I was in high school.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love it there, but it's definitely changed for maybe not the better or the worse, but it's changed, and it's hard to go back.
Could have been worse. You could have grown up in New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. Where I grew up.
Is that where you grew up?
That's where I grew up.
Dude, I love it. It's okay. No, look, I'm saying we love everywhere. Okay,
yeah.
So like for sure, there's the disc golf course, Sedgley Woods in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Have you familiar with that?
I'm not.
It's in Fairmont Park, which is basically if you
I know Fairmont. I used to go running through that park. I didn't know there was a disc golf course in there.
We used to go running to that park.
Yeah.
Can I see your stab marks?
I don't have any stab marks. I used to do it during the daytime. It wasn't that bad. Because I used to live in Manayunk.
It's a big park. I'm guessing that like there's one side of the park you go to and you avoid the other side maybe.
Yeah.
It's a rough neighborhood. And that course at Sedgley Woods has got, like, I still think to this day is the coolest disc golf club in the country is the course, the Sedgley Woods Club. It's ridiculous because it's right smack dab, not in the hood, but like
it's kind of in the hood.
The people in the hood are afraid to go to that part of the hood.
Yeah.
Like it's rough. And yet this golf community just thrives there. And they just like, I mean, there's not a woman in the Sedgley Woods Disc Golf Club that couldn't kick my ass. Like, and that's so non-PC to say. That's okay.
Yeah.
There's not a person of any gender in that club. Everybody in that club is tough. How about that?
Yeah.
But
Philly's a different breed of people. They're definitely.
But they're cool. Like they're pissed off, but they should be because their town's awful and ugly. But it's like they own it. Like they're
proud of how bad it is.
They will tell you how bad that town sucks. It's like, why do you leave? Because it's home.
Yeah, I love it here. It's like what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't.
Coffee, by the
Of
way.
course, yeah.
I didn't start playing disc golf until I moved out to Utah. So every time I go back to visit family back in like the New Jersey area, I always try to bring a couple discs and play.
Go to Sedgley Woods. Have you ever been on New Year's Day?
No.
It's one of my bucket list items.
I don't like New Year's in Philly because it's fireworks or gunshots. It's what you're playing that day, and it's a little scary.
First off, it's Sedgley Woods, so it is gunshots. No, they do a tournament every year on New Year's Day at Sedgley Woods. It's one round of 18 holes, 400 people.
Wow.
So they average like 25 people per group. It takes 8 hours to play one round, and that course has like the holes cross over and like you're thrown over other tee pads and stuff. 25 people per group, and everybody brings food and they drink and they bring their dogs and their kids, and it's just this like it's one of the few big disc golf events I've never done that I plan on doing.
Nice.
Because it's a 400-person one-round tournament.
That sounds awesome.
It's
It
incredible.
sounds chaotic, but it sounds awesome.
It just sounds like Sedgley Woods.
I'll have to check that out next time I'm back in the area.
Yeah, New Year's Day. Don't miss it.
New Year's Day. Got it.
So Scott, you've been playing for I don't want to offend you in any way, but God knows how long.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Grew up playing the sport. What are some of your bigger accomplishments in your eyes?
Big accomplishments. I have gone. Well, I've taught a throwing clinic. I've taught disc golf in 26 countries.
Wow.
Where I've actually gone and taught. That's about 600 throwing clinics in 26 countries.
Mm-hmm.
I have done 287 or 288, I'd have to check, classes for kids and adults with special needs in like 280 cities.
Wow.
A couple duplicates there, so maybe 220 different cities, but 280 something events. All those classes are free. Those are that's something I'm very proud of. On the field, I just posted this. This is probably my biggest playing accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Is in 2001 the Professional Disc Golf Hall of Fame did a poll where they voted the top players of the century.
Mm-hmm.
The sport has only been around 25 years, but the first 25 years of the sport, I got voted number 3 all time.
Wow.
Back in 2000, and which was the number 2 player, Dave Greenwell, came from a generation before me. Ken Klein was obviously number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I was voted basically the second best player of my generation by the people that were there, like the best to do it at that time. So that's probably my biggest honor as a player.
Okay.
Wow.
I would say. Oh, and then I set a bunch of world records. I mean, Guinness World Records for the longest throw of a flying disc twice. Backhand, I broke my own record. Then I had the world record for the longest throw sidearm. And
was that ever official, the sidearm one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we looked it up and we were trying to like look up your sidearm record, and we found it was like you have it.
Yeah.
It should be right there.
568 feet at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at the time there was a little bit of pushback as far as different types of deliveries. So they just had the record, the WIFDF sanctioned record was WIFTF was one of the sanctioning bodies that oversaw the records.
Mhm.
They just simply had male, female, and then ages
Okay.
and longest throws, and there wasn't one for the sidearm. Back then, the sidearm wasn't considered like one of the two main throws. It was considered more of a niche shot. But we know for a fact. I mean, the sport was smaller back then. We know for a fact that it was never broken. It was never it was officialized. No one's going to step up and be like, "Well, the 1992 Tennessee State Championship, like it's for sure."
Yeah.
But with they pushed back against that, but I don't care. It's the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we looked it up, and I was at the clinic today. It was an amazing clinic, by the way.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I wish Dave could have been there.
I'm gonna get out to the one at the fort, I think.
Yeah. It was a very different way of looking at disc golf, and I appreciated it because a lot of people in Salt Lake are, we're form geeks, I think.
Yeah.
Most of us are, and
Or what?
form geeks. We dive into someone's form, but it's like, oh, you're not throwing like AB. How do we throw like AB or Gannon Bird?
If you can.
No.
No, not because like my exact words are not because they're better than you, but because they're throwing with a different body.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be differences in form between different people,
Mm-hmm.
even twins. It's an interesting fact. So even twins who are born with the same bodies, if they grow up doing different activities, one of them grows up playing football, one of them grows up running track, they, by the time they're adults, will not have identical bodies. They'll be genetically identical.
Yeah.
But they will have grown muscle in different areas in different amounts that are going to, over years, are going to pull the joints in different directions. And so even twins can't throw identical as adults.
Yeah.
Because their bodies are different. So me and you throwing the same would be crazy.
Yeah. It was very interesting. I took a lot of it to heart because, I only started playing this game 2.5-3 years ago. Seriously, I'd played a few times jokingly, but I fell in love with it because it was something you do with friends by yourself, and you meet new people. And someone always told me you need to do these things. And the way you said it earlier is it blew my mind. I was like, wow, I don't need to listen to anyone. I just need to listen to what my body's telling me.
Yes, but I start off by saying you can't just throw any way you want to. There are rules to follow.
Yes.
Individual bodies move differently, but you still have to fall within a framework of the laws of physics.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just do whatever you want. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But there's variations within those laws, and that took me a lifetime to figure out. I mean, nothing I'm teaching is anyone. It's like I'm teaching things that no one else in the world even knows.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone has to be first, someone has to be the. I mean, it's just the way it is with anything. Knowledge. There's always some person or some business or university or something. There's something's at the front of knowledge, and I'm at the front of the knowledge.
Yeah.
Everything I'm teaching will be common knowledge in a year or 5.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to be at the front.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest change you've seen in disc golf over the last 40 years?
Yeah. I mean, probably the cultural acceptance. Like, we're not pariahs anymore. No, I mean, it used to be if you tried to put a course in the ground, like neighbors would show up with like pitchforks and like literally the neighbors like in like the suburbs would like take a rag and dip it in kerosene at the end of a stick and set it on fire, and they would come to City Hall. No, really, like that's like that's only this much of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, the Antichrist is coming. You're going to play disc. You frisbee players, that's a hippie sport, and it's like, well, it was hippie sport. That wasn't untrue, but it's like the hippies weren't doing anything. They weren't causing problems. They weren't committing crimes or corrupting children or doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They partied a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you open up a baseball field and you have softball league, they're partying a little bit. I mean, it's just grown-ups partying.
Yeah.
It's not like, but it was just, counterculture. And if you're in the suburbs, you're like, I don't want anything different. And that was and now it's like parts are like they're contacting, like all the companies were out of baskets during COVID because so many parts are trying to get a course put in
Mm-hmm.
that there weren't enough baskets.
Yeah.
Like, so it's completely flipped. It's probably the biggest change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. One thing that I've noticed here, you're saying like people with pitchforks and stuff.
Yeah.
So, we're in this tight little valley here, and there isn't a lot of places to go build a disc golf course. And some of the counties are willing to work with Elevate Utah, which is a local nonprofit. And we had a great interview with Scott Belichick. That's how you say his name, Belichick, a few weeks ago. And he was like, it feels to him like the county is putting up pitchforks and stuff because there is so much pushback because there is nowhere to build a course.
So this is not an unfair thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is like when you have to allocate 15 acres of space.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of space. Now the nice thing for us is we don't want the 15 acres anyone else wants. I mean, like Art Dye is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like we don't want the soccer fields. We want to be in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go back there and help maintain it. We don't want you to cut down branches. That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, certainly there's parts where it requires maintenance to build a playing course with the grass and stuff, but
Totally.
not always. So that's always a big thing. But there's actually an organization called, I'm going to have, let me ask my imaginary friend. It's Discovery Zone. It's fluent. It's not Fluent Disc Golf, but no, I got Fluent Disc Sport. I knew I had it wrong. Fluent Disc Sport out of Toronto area has been developing a project to bring disc golf to smaller areas.
Okay.
With let's say what pickleball is to tennis, his Discovery Zone is to disc golf.
Okay.
To in a bridge version of it with less space. So there's things that are happening, but that was tough. I mean, like that's why you don't see like the only people in this country basically that haven't heard of disc golf all live in Manhattan. Because like you're never going to get a golf course in Manhattan, and people in Manhattan never leave Manhattan.
Yeah.
Sure.
People in the Bronx never leave the Bronx. So let's go ahead and say anywhere in New York other than Long Island. And let's see, I know how to pronounce it. Long Island.
Long Island.
And so if you're in Long Island, there is a course out there.
On the beach?
No, it's a beautiful course out there. I'd have to look it up. I've played out there, but
You want to look it up on there?
Yeah.
but other than that, but that again, it's a space thing, right? So that's why they don't play out there. But anywhere where there's space, like forget it. I mean, like go to Michigan. There's 700 courses or something.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
they have woods. They have space.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, it doesn't matter.
Very interesting. Let's talk about
Exeter Forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great course on Long
Interesting.
Island.
Long Island.
Before we talk about these, I have another question for you. Did you ever, before you made your own discs, did you ever help design any discs?
No, that is not my area of expertise. I'm not an engineer. I'm not good at stuff. I have a very shallow skill set. Like I'm very good at math and interpreting and
Mm-hmm.
explaining mathematical concepts. I'm very good at throwing discs and playing sports. I mean, there's things I'm very good at,
Yeah.
and there's things I'm not good at, and I'm very self-aware as to what I'm not good at. No, I mean, if I sat in front of a molding machine, I could have someone hold my hand because like there's a whole art to just molding discs, like pressures and temperatures, and like I would never get it. It's just my brain doesn't function in terms of like aerodynamics.
Yeah. You were in Denver a week ago with Jesse and Trash Panda?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, Jesse's great. Trash Panda is a fantastic company.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trash Panda is this is one of the neat things about our sport. It is big enough now where you can make a living in the sport without being a big something. Like you can find your niche. And I think that Jesse's a perfect example of that. He's got his following, a very loyal following.
Mm-hmm.
His discs are good. don't know if he's ever going to break into like the pro tour type market.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at a point where we're big enough that you don't need to.
Yeah.
Like he could be doing his thing. He could grab his little tiny piece of the market, but that little piece of the market is a damn good living.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Yeah, you don't need to be the Innova or Discraft to make it out there.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me personally, I'm like just. I don't want this to get out, but I am going to run all of those companies out of business.
Really?
Yeah,
These?
they're all gonna work. Yeah, all Innova, Discraft, MVP, Trilogy, they're all gonna work for me.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
No,
Breaking
I like the
news.
confidence.
Breaking news. No, it's good confidence.
no, actually, no. I've been joking about that. That you know that I'm gonna put them all out of business, but I'll let them come work for me someday.
Mm-hmm.
That they're gonna start off. Hey, they're gonna start off sweeping up the warehouse floor like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, because of their experience, I see middle management in their future.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's kind of been the joke. No, the truth is I kind of almost have the same thing. I'm never going to be a major company.
Mm-hmm.
I will guarantee you that 100% for sure, Stokely Discs will never be a major company in the sport. And we are funded. I have all the money. I got the investors. I got the best disc designer in the world designing the discs, and we're still never going to be a major player. Because in order to be a major player, you have to do things in a very corporate way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just required. You can't.
Yeah.
We can't be 20% of the market and doing $70 million a year, being a mom and pop type of business. I'm never going to be a mainstream person or company. I just won't build a business that way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take my little piece. I'm going to do things my way, grassroots, support local pro shops, entrepreneurs, do the stuff I want to do, and then make a good living.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll never be big.
What made you want to start your own disc company? Like, was it, you know, that you thought you could make a better product, or just kind of wanted to be able to do something for like you said, the smaller communities?
So I have an agenda, and what I want to do. The reason I started this company. Well, first let me say this: what's interesting is I didn't need to start this company. I do really well teaching disc golf. Like I'm not rich. I don't have a trust fund or an inheritance or anything. But you can do the math. I go do some clinics. I make a great living, and I love teaching and I love traveling. So I didn't need to do anything to just have this really nice, basically easy life.
Yeah.
Traveling the world playing frisbee, but I have several projects that I've been doing, which is number one, adaptive disc golf, people with special needs, but just adaptive sport, bringing the sport to people that the traditional sport can't reach. That's big. That's important to me. I want to bring disc golf to developing countries. That's become a passion of mine. I want to make disc golf happen all over the world. And I don't mean like just raising the money to put a course in somewhere. Like that's beautiful when people do that. But my plans are much, much, much bigger than that. And as my third but smaller thing is I want to make sure that all the old frisbee games that I grew up with that have faded since disc golf and ultimate have kind of become the 1-2 punch in disc sports. I want to make sure they don't fade. And the reason I'm starting the company, like the number one reason, is I want to make enough money to pursue those projects.
Yeah.
And like I've been able to do a lot of good in like the special needs community with thousands of dollars, but add a couple decimal points, a couple zeros, and all of a sudden I could do some real damage.
Yeah.
And so that's my agenda. Like
Awesome.
I'm weird. Like I'm a financial planner's worst nightmare because like I will not put money into savings. I will not stuff money under my mattress. I will die with as much money as I have in my pocket right now. I don't make money for money's sake. So the more money I make, the more money I can give away and spend on these projects without needing to recoup that investment.
Totally.
Like these other disc sports, like these smaller disc sports, they're not getting the attention from the disc companies because why would I put money into this sport? There's no money coming back because the sport's so small, but I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
If it shows a profit, like that's not why I do things.
Yeah.
So I could lose money and not care, which means I could accomplish quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's my agenda.
You're doing it for the right reasons, not.
Well, I want to be careful on that because I'm gonna push back. I don't want to call it the right reasons because that makes it sound like I'm doing something better or superior to other people.
Okay.
Because if somebody's making money because they want to leave their kid a huge inheritance, that's also a right reason.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to have the biggest house on the block and a boat, that's also the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to ever think that my reasons are better than anybody else's.
That's fair.
I just have my personal agenda. I'm selfishly doing what makes me happy.
Okay.
It just so happens that what makes me happy is going to benefit other people.
Yeah.
But that's no better than anyone else. It's important.
Yeah.
I love that. I really do. I think giving back to the community is like a huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, being a ski instructor, like I would do that for free. I don't care.
Right.
Like being able to either show someone who has skied before, like a new run or a new way to ski, kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
the clinic today, or someone who's never seen snow in their life before, and being like, hey, we're gonna take this step by step, and I just want to show you like a part of my world and bring you into this world so you can go explore it your way, you know. And I love that. So I love what you're doing, Scott. That's awesome. Run me through these. So we have the Wern. Am I saying that right?
The Wren.
Wren and the Cardinal.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I don't want to say that these are better than any other disc made. So why don't you say it?
I mean, they feel great. They feel really good. They feel really good.
No, these are really good. Yeah, this is the Cardinal is a mid-range. It's overstable.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an overstable disc. It does not fly straight. It fades hard as a mid-range. And the Wren is slightly unstable, but basically just flies perfectly straight, beadless putter. This is in a different putter plastic, the Wren, and the Cardinal is in more of like a star type of plastic. And they are great discs, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I take no credit whatsoever for it. The only credit I get in the actual disc, so I guess I chose the hot stick, but the only credit I get is that this was almost my first big decision with the company, is that we had decided we want to wholesale at this competitive price with the big manufacturers, which is very hard to do because we're buying at smaller volume plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
But we basically had a set price, our wholesale prices that we were going to go. And the amount of money I make when I wholesale one of these discs, I could make about twice as much with slightly lower quality plastic. And it's real interesting because when it's someone else's business, it's easy to say, oh my God, who cares? Go ahead and cut your profits by 50%. It'll be worth it because you'll build this great reputation with high quality and like it's so easy to say when it's someone else's money. But when I was looking at it going, wow, I'm literally cutting before these even hit the market, I'm literally deciding to cut my wholesale profits by 50% to have the highest quality plastic, and I pulled the trigger on it and said, let's go high quality plastic.
Well,
and you can feel the plastic. It's ridiculous.
It feels
so
great.
Yeah.
Like I love Star Plastic. And almost all my Innova discs that I bag are in Star Plastic, and this just I feel like I'm at home when I grab this, right? And then this is
isn't that the tackiest?
This is great.
Super tacky.
So tacky. Like if your hands are sweaty, the putter will actually, you can still grip.
Yeah, we did a video a few weeks ago on the inner cord from Trash Panda.
Yeah.
And they're base plastic, and I love Trash Panda, but when that comes out of the press, puts in the box, and comes back to the buyer, you have to beat it in to get this tacky feel, which I didn't like. I love the way their discs fly. Just like for putting, I just didn't like it.
Well,
but it feels great.
Well, think about Trash Pandas. you're getting behind him for a different reason. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're making a trade-off to participate in a bigger goal. And you know, a Trash Panda, like, I'm not saying the plastic's not good or the discs aren't good or anything, but when you limit yourself to a certain type of plastic, or or anyway, limit yourself in any fashion, then you have limits on what you can do. You're requiring your audience to say, I'm willing to accept those limits because I care about something that you care about.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going to happen with him. It's not that his discs aren't good or his plastic's not good, but he will limit himself as far as what he can do because he is regrinding existing discs with like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the people that are there are plenty of people who are going to say, yeah, but this is a game. This thing you're trying to do is far more important than this game we're playing. But they'll make that choice.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm saying I want you to have the highest quality discs available, and dare I say, I'm making discs that'll be in a landfill for 500,000 years.
But no, no. I mean,
but here's the thing. Yeah, that sucks. But you'll be able to grip it when your hands are sweaty. So you pick your battles.
yeah,
Well, and you have
I
that.
just love Jesse. I love Jesse and Trash Panda, and I love everything he's doing.
yeah,
But we just have my agendas,
different goals.
different goals, and I'm pursuing my important projects that are different than his.
Yeah.
But I love what he does.
yeah.
What would you say your favorite disc to throw is? Like, I know Ian loves throwing a Wraith. Like, that's probably one of his favorites.
Like the one you threw into the water today.
Oh, did you ever get it back?
I went and looked, and it's either 5 feet into a, like, I think it was a blackberry, but something on the riverside or in the water. It's okay. I'm not mad
He's got
about
a lot.
it. I got like 10 extras up there. So don't worry about
Okay.
it.
But what would be your favorite, like, if you could, obviously you're making your own discs now.
Sure.
If you could make the perfect disc for you to throw when you're still competing.
I'll take my discs out of the conversation because my answer is my discs, obviously. So we'll take those off the table. That's not the question. I would say that I love the Berg.
Really?
I think the Berg is perfection. It is.
I don't like it. It's too deep in my hands.
Yeah.
And we had my best friend growing up on last week, and he also said the Berg.
Yeah.
He loves the Berg.
We asked
The
everyone.
Berg is perfect. I mean, the Berg is a 10. The Berg is here. Okay, here's how I describe the Berg. The Berg is the Instagram model that would actually date you.
Okay.
Hold on. I should save that for like one of my discs. No, I think the Berg's perfect. I think that it's perfection.
It does what it says it's gonna do, and
It like the basket's that way, and you throw it that way, and it literally just goes to the basket. Like it just works. So yeah, I mean, I've never been I'm still not a great finesse player, but I was never a good finesse player my whole life, and I'm now a very good finesse player. I still wouldn't say great, but I'm a very good finesse player because of that one disc. So
Okay.
like it's one disc that changed my game. Like I love the Felon and Destroyer, but if I had to throw, if I had to throw, a Firebird and a Ballista, I would probably still be as good.
Mm-hmm.
But the Berg's irreplaceable.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to go buy some birds.
Yeah.
you can go buy some Bergs.
Okay. We'll go buy some birds. Yeah.
The Berg is the Instagram model that would actually be. Oh my God.
Can I use that as a thumbnail?
No. Yeah. Yes. No, I just realized as the words are coming out of my mouth, I started I was thinking to myself, don't finish this sentence. This is too good. Don't, and then I couldn't stop myself.
Well,
Okay.
it's out to the people now.
By the way, so you know where that expression comes from? So
No, tell me.
it comes from the fact that we've been to 36 countries in the last 2 years, and we've been all over. Like, you think the Instagram models are crazy here? Like, you go to like Southeast Asia, and oh my god, it's insane. And you'll go to like, you'll be in Bangkok, and there'll be like a lake in the city, and there'll be like 100 Instagram models all gathered on the lake, and all like 100 of those Instagram models posing. There's 100 guys taking their pictures, and it's like, it's so obvious. Like, as you look at this, you're like, none of those girls are dating those guys. All those guys want to date those girls, but they're not interested in the guy who follows them around going, "I'll take your picture, whatever you want. What do you mean? I'll do anything for," like, they're not interested, and it's, the dynamic is so obvious. So the Berg is the Instagram model that will date the photographer, and if you throw the Berg, you are the photographer. Okay, that was way off. I got, because I got a full cup of coffee.
Yeah, it is 10:30 at night.
I don't
and we're
like drink or do drugs or anything. It's like coffee. That's it. That's my only thing.
I mean, there are worse habits for sure.
Yeah,
there are worse habits.
So of those 36 countries, which has been your favorite to visit, or like favorite to be in, and then best place you've played disc golf in?
Yeah,
outside of the U.S.
Two totally different questions. So, okay, we like everywhere. That's me and my girlfriend, Adrian. We like everywhere. We flip flop on our number 1 and 2 countries. So my favorite is Japan, followed by Malaysia. Her favorite is Malaysia, followed by Japan, and we both have Serbia as number 3.
Oh.
We love all 3 of those places for totally different reasons. They're not the slightest bit alike. If you think Malaysia is like Japan, you're racist.
Yeah.
How can you possibly? You really think they're the same? My God. No, they're not. They're entirely different worlds. I mean, and by the way, I'm totally teasing, because like Malaysia is a bit like Thailand, and Cambodia is a bit like Vietnam. Nothing's like Japan. Japan's its own planet. And then Serbia is totally different than either of those. So we like them all.
Awesome.
Where is your favorite disc golf?
Oh,
outside of the U.S., I would
probably.
say.
So my favorite course is Ala Disc Golf Center in Sweden, for sure. And God, I mean, anywhere in, but the favorite location has to just be Finland, because it's the most mainstream disc golf is. Like, the best example I can give you is, how like if you go to Best Buy and they have an entire back row full of TVs, and what's on all the TVs? I mean, this is the multi-million-dollar corporate decision as far as what they play on these TVs, because the idea is we need to show things on the TVs that have the highest probability that when you come in, you go, "Ooh, that doesn't look as good on my TV. I want to watch that in the big TV," right? That's they don't just put channels on and flip around. I mean, this is a big. Whatever's going to sell the most TVs, they have up. So we're in Helsinki, looking at, we had to replace a phone. We walked into their version of Best Buy, and the entire back wall is TVs with disc golf on it, because some really smart person in Helsinki said, if you want to sell TVs, we need people to walk in and say, "Ooh, I'd rather watch disc golf on that than my TV."
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like, it's wild.
Is it really that much bigger over in Finland?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. 100%. When you go out, I would be willing to bet there's 5 million people, or 5.5 million people in Finland, 300 something million people in the U.S., and there's like 12,000 courses in the U.S., right? So it's massive over here, 1,000. So there's 12 to 1 courses U.S. to Finland. I'd be willing to bet that there are more junior disc golfers in Finland, not as a percentage of the population, but total. I bet there's more junior disc golfers in Finland than the U.S., with 1/12 the courses and 1/50 the population.
Wow.
My
God.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's such a part. I mean, like, tons of like the school systems. I mean, they have courses on campus. It's part of their curriculum. It's and they're good. Every one of them's good. They're freaking terrifying. Like, you think Nicholas is terrifying. Imagine like thousands of them. I made a video about how the Finns were coming,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like it's like when I was over there, I did the Euro Tour last year. I finished sixth place in points. No, I think I might have actually dropped I was sixth place in points, but I had to leave with like 1 or 2 events to go, so I didn't get to play the last 2 events. I might have dropped to like 8th, but whatever it was. But I think 3 of the people ahead of me or 4 were like Americans. I was only behind a couple of Europeans, so I actually was ahead of all the European players, and I was this far from being behind 50 of them. Like I was ahead, but it's like right behind me are like 100 of them that are like this close.
Yeah.
And as soon as they pass, I'm gonna drop to like 1,000 because there's so many. It's ridiculous, and they're all good, and they're so nice, and they're so professional, and like they take the game so serious. I mean, there's not a Finnish disc golfer that doesn't lift weights, watch their diet. Say none, but I mean it's
very few.
Very few.
Yeah.
It's a sport, and if you're trying to compete with all these other kids, these kids are ridiculous.
Wow,
it's scary to think about.
It is.
No, the wave is coming. I mean, Europe's dominating FPO.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Kristen, Evelina, Hannah Bombers, they're all.
Yeah.
Annika
Steen? Anakin Steen.
Yep.
Yeah, she comes over. Oh, no one's ever even heard of this person. She comes over, so it's a pro tour event, goes home.
Yep.
and she's not even like considered like a big name over there. I mean, obviously she's not. Well, sorry, that's not fair. 3-time Norwegian Open champion, but so okay, I retract. I'm going to take back what I said. It's not considered a big name, but she's not Evelina or Kristen or Hannah, right? I mean, she's
Kristen went home and got press came to the airport to talk to her.
Oh my gosh. We went to Estonia last year. We went to Estonia. We take the ferry from Finland over to Estonia. We get off the ferry. We had our vehicle with us. So we get off the ferry. We start driving to the course. The first thing we see when we hit Estonia is a gigantic billboard. Estonia, home of Kristen Tatar. Right? First thing we saw.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
When's that going to be the U.S.?
As soon as I put billboards of me up on. No, my plan. I'll tell you right now, and if you think I'm joking, I'm not. I don't joke about anything like that. I'm not willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my plans. Is that I want to convince people that I'm actually famous, because I'm not. In order to convince them, I want to put up random billboards all over the country, outside of little small towns that say, let's see, we'll call it Mudlick, Kentucky, Mudlick, Indiana, like a billboard right outside that says Scott Stokely once stopped and pooped at a gas station in Mudlick, and make it seem like, and then underneath it, like put at the bottom, by the Mudlick Chamber of Commerce, even though I actually did it. Make it look like that's their claim to fame, that I once had to pull off the freeway.
Who is this guy? We got to look him up now.
Yeah,
that's golden. That's a great idea.
Thank you. I'll do it.
I will be there when you have your first sign. You let me know. I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll fly across the world if I have to.
I can't wait. So that's what I'm saying. Why did I start my disc company? Do you not realize like how much I can do with millions of disposable dollars? I mean, I'm not going to buy a big boat. I'm going to
put billboards everywhere.
By the way, the funny thing is, here, off camera, be totally honest. Am I serious?
Oh.
So,
hey, it'll help grow the sport eventually. If people know more and more about the people that are doing it, right?
I just think I'm it's just fun. But the thing about that's kind of happening here. I mean, there's billboards when you head into Emporia, Disc Golf Town, USA, and stuff, and that's I think from the city of Emporia.
Yeah,
maybe from Dynamic, but that's not like it's a joke. You're getting into Emporia. It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch the coverage at all this weekend?
Yeah, I went to the end of it.
Okay. What did you You've obviously played the course.
Yeah.
What do you think of that course and the players on the Pro Tour now? And
players the Pro Tour now are playing, and I mean every year they get better. NPO is leveling off talent wise. As far as like, I don't think that you could play. I mean, the game's not going to evolve much past Paul, Ricky, Simon, AD now, Calvin. You're just going to get a deeper field of players that are closer to that.
okay.
But I mean, if you were to track skill levels, it's like the curve is flattening. Like with millions of people playing and the curve is flattening, this is just math. It's not going to spike.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be, no player's going to show up and start shooting 1070s. So it's like, you will not, that's too far of a deviation from like you won't have that level outlier. It's almost mathematically impossible. So that's fairly leveled off. The FPO field is not leveled off. The curve is not flattening. It's still going up, which means the level play is gonna continue to rise. I mean, a player like Eliezer could potentially in a couple years be practically in a different division than any of the FPO players today. Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, she's gonna be throwing 100 feet farther. Like, if you're that much of an outlier, like that means that there's room,
Right.
So, like, but when I was like in the 90s, I literally threw backhands 150 feet farther and threw sidearms 150 feet farther than anyone else on the Pro Tour. Like, I was such an absolute complete outlier. But I was just what would be considered like Anthony Barella or David Wiggins now. I mean, we're all in the same ballpark, So it's not that, like, I was an outlier because the sport was smaller.
Yeah.
So now a whole bunch of players are up here, even if they're not throwing as far as I was. Calvin throws far enough to be in that world. Cole Rodon throws far enough. I threw farther than they did, for sure. But they're not so far behind that I'm an outlier.
Yeah.
I would just be like Anthony Barella is not an outlier. He's the farthest thrower. But a lot of people throw really far.
Yeah.
And so that the distance was where I was is where it's flattened to. But yeah, like when someone like Eliezer steps up and she throws 500 feet off a tee pad.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But if she's doing it, it means there will be a point where all the FPO players are throwing 470 or above. And then you have the occasional Eliezer that throws 540, but they'll all be throwing 480.
Right.
Like, that's going to happen. So I just think the FPO still has a ways to go.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, just, again, you chart it on the curve.
Right. Do you see the courses ever changing to account for that over time?
I think they need to be harder. They still need to be harder. I personally I don't ever want to see 13 hunters. Now, this is subjective. It doesn't mean I'm right. There's plenty of people that would be like, I don't want to see the best players shoot 300. So that's just an opinion. You're not wrong if you think that. I would rather see players shoot 300. I that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see him, like a par 5 where your third shot's coming in at, like, you got 400 feet on your third shot, you got to execute the birdie with OBU. That's better for me.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think at least at the Pro Tour level, like, the courses need to be challenging enough to, I think a hot score of the day for a Pro Tour course should be like 600-700.
That's about what I would think too. And then when someone shoots 8 or 9, you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, and that goes along with ball golf. It's probably in the same ballpark. But I mean, and what's funny is because as we say this, the courses are so freaking hard. You have no idea until you've been out there what you're looking at. Like it seems like they're so much easier. Like, people just have no idea. Like there's so many challenges on those holes that you don't see on coverage.
Yeah.
Like for instance, you have what seems like a relatively wide fairway, but you had to throw so high off the tee pad, you had to hit the fairway with a high Anheuser flex.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the minute you do that, you don't know where the disc is going to go. It's almost impossible to control that.
Yeah.
Or there's so many times where it's like there's a branch right off the tee pad that prevents the line you would hit. So you can't throw the hyzer line where you want. You have to do an Anheuser flex that is just that one element harder.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just impossible to describe just how much harder these courses are. I mean, I played a tournament like where in Minnesota where I shot a 15 and a 17, and that rating was the equivalent of like 1 under at Northwoods Black. Was like 17 under at this other course up in Hastings, Minnesota. And the 1 under at Northwoods Black was like actually like harder than the 17 under because Northwood Black wants you to shoot 20 over.
Yeah.
Like
it's trying to make you.
I think Northwoods, like at least on coverage wise, you can actually see how hard the course is.
You can.
Whereas like Emporia, you can't really tell. There's a few drone shots, I think, like hole 2, where Ricky's throwing the big sidearm hyzer just around that tree to the landing zone.
Yeah.
Calvin's going under. That tree's a lot farther away and a lot bigger than most people think. And I didn't realize that until they had the drone view of following the disc, and you're like, oh, that's like they're throwing that 450 feet on a pure hyzer line or like a low ceiling, like that's yeah.
There's a course I didn't get to play because I got sick. I practiced it for like 3 days, and then that's when I got my stupid blood infection that tried to kill me in Norway. It was so stupid. What was that? Sepsis? What? Yeah, where like that I was like I was supposed to die or something. I don't know. Like I'm indestructible. I'm not gonna die from sepsis, but the course at Crocole, every hole has out of bounds on it just about. Like all over the fairways and by the basket, every single basket on that course is on the edge of a hill with the drop off on the other side, and it's on the side of a hill here. Like there's not a single shot on that course where you can you're 100 feet out and you just throw it up to the basket and drop it in. Like every 100-foot shot, 100-foot shots, you're looking at going, shoot, if I land to the right, and I hit wrong, it's going to go off to the left. But if I throw a little too high, I got to make sure I'm on this side so I have a like you have to like this. It's mentally challenging, and then you got to execute a shot. It's so hard. And we look on TV, it's like, oh, it's on the side of a hill. It's like no, that course wants to murder you, and you can't tell until you play it.
Yeah,
it's a trip, man.
That's interesting.
And I still think it needs to be harder because these damn kids are still shooting double digits. Let's say, a couple of them, but it's stupid.
Some people are just, they get the game, and it's scary to see. And
then you have people that are trying to break the game, like a Jake Wolf that's throwing overhand 500 feet.
Yeah. Hey, you want to hear a story about Jake Wolf at Northwoods Black?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is this too braggy to share?
It happened.
It happened, yeah. So Jake Wolf is one of my like top several favorite people in the sport. I love that guy. He's such a good guy and he's so much fun. I played with him around at Northwoods Black and tournament round at the Leadstone. And when we get to the first hole, he goes, "Yeah, everybody's wanting me to play against you because everybody says that I got the farthest sidearm out here on tour." This was just 2 years ago. He goes, "Everyone's saying I got the farthest sidearm on tour, and I want to go, head to head." It was very friendly. I mean, he wasn't being like, we're not like talking crap, side betting or something at the Leadstone Open. I mean, it's very much, but he was just expressing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking forward. I heard you got the best sidearm, whatever. I'm going to go against you," and so we shot the round, and like it was great because every hole I was just like, I edged him by like 20 feet. And at the end of the round, he walks up to me, he goes, "All I got to say is," and he goes to shake my hand, and right as I go to shake it, he goes, "No." bows down. He goes, and I'm like, it was so. I love people that can do that because he's like he issued this challenge and then he conceded, which is like that's what like how to say it? It's what a man does, like a real man who's like willing to like, hey, I ate my words. Congratulations, it was cool.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
that's awesome.
Now, does that mean that he's not going to throw farther than me at some point? Because he's still improving. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
But at least that day was my day.
Who's your favorite person that you've played with? Like, if you could be on a card with whoever you wanted to.
Oh, God, I love. I mean, so the easy answers right now, it would be AB, Calvin, and Gannon, because it means I'm on the lead card. That's a cheater answer, though. Huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say.
Let's do all time, not just people who are playing now.
Oh, I thought I was going to say 3 of those Instagram models in Bangkok.
Yeah.
That would also be like a dream foursome. See, it changes all the time, and like so every time I do, I want to give in different answers. I'm going to go ahead and let's go Dan Roddick, PDJ number 3. I'll go Jim Kenner, the owner of Discraft, and Sam Ferrant, who's one of my best friends from the early days.
Okay.
But this changes every time. So yeah, I mean, there's so many people I love.
Yeah.
They're all my friends.
It's a good card right there.
It is.
Sounds like fun.
It would be a cool card.
What would be your nightmare card? No.
No, we don't need to do that.
No, but no, it's actually a great question. But it brings up a good point because like you'll never hear me say a negative word about somebody. Like there's people I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't feel like I ever want to try to talk anyone else into not liking them just because I don't. So I just go, you're welcome to like who you want.
Mm-hmm.
I can have my opinions, but I keep it to myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll share them with my friends. I mean, we all, and they generally agree with me. But like, there's some people that aren't the best people.
Totally.
But but that's not a public statement.
Yeah. Look at that. You announced today your first player for your disc company.
Yes.
His
name's Dallas Garber from Portland. He's 16 years old. He's 1,005 rated, although his rating's about to jump, I think, tomorrow again. He recently beat Cole Rodolin in a sudden death playoff.
At 16.
At 16.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, he shot like 1040 or 1060 something for the tournament. Something stupid. Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's so good. I've gotten to know him and his mom very well. And I'm... What? Oh, and his grandma and her. That's true. But he could easily in the next year or 2 or 3 jump to a big company. I would be more than happy for him. I would help him negotiate his contract if he wanted. He's like I don't play politics with like sides or like I wouldn't get my feelings hurt. Like he needs to do what's best for his career.
Mm-hmm.
But if he chooses to stick with Stokely Discs and me and wants to grow the company, he also has the opportunity to be in early on something that is maybe better for his career long term than being a sponsored player.
Totally.
So if he sees that opportunity as well, I'd be happy to bring him along. Unless he turns out to be a terrible person, and then I'll change my mind. But as of right now, he's a great kid, and I'm pretty sure he's going to stay that way. So yeah, I'm going to try to, I don't have the full set of discs, so it's always going to be a co-sponsorship. He's sponsored by Castaplast, and Castaplast is allowing a co-sponsorship. But the type of things that I can offer with Stokely Discs are creativity.
Yeah.
In the branding. I mean, like Paul Macbeth has his own line of golf discs from Discraft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could have offered the same thing to Paul. Now, I wouldn't have sold as many discs as Discraft did, and Paul would have been would not have been the best decision to go with me. He did much better with Discraft than
Yeah.
but I could potentially offer something to like a up and coming young star with like his own discs and his own line, not just a tour disc. I can do things that maybe offer a longer term potential.
Totally.
That, like, hey, I know you're a sponsored player and you made more money today, but then when your sponsorship runs out, you don't have anything left to that company. Whereas like I could offer a younger player, like a up and coming star, the potential of having a thing that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can just make discs and I can create new molds and I can market and brand discs. So I'm hoping Dallas sticks around and grows with what we're doing.
Yeah. It's awesome.
He's a good kid. There's also, I have 5 sponsorship announcements. 3 of them are players that you've heard of, but I can't announce who they are. But all 3, I'll tell you who they are off air.
Okay.
But all 3 of them are players that you've heard of, or 3 of the 4 are players you've heard of. So they're
Okay.
big names.
Awesome. I'm excited for that.
Details. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it after after all this.
Oh.
Do you have any
Off
more
record.
molds coming? Or
Oh yeah.
what?
We have the owl, with the owl and the finch were just approved, and the owl is the next one to be released.
Okay.
It is. We're kind of not sure how much we're giving away about what it is. We're kind of dropping hints as far as what it does. I think it's going to put us on the map. I think it is a disc that's going to potentially be a disc that everybody's going to have in their bag, because it is a little bit different than anything else.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's actually different, and if people agree.
Oh no, the yawns are coming.
No,
out.
I'm not. No, I'm tired, but I'm always tired. I'm always working. But no, it's. I think it's special disc. I think it's, and I've been honest. I mean, I'm honest about, like, you can't. I mean, I love the Ren. I mean this. Like, I'm honest. I think this plastic is the best putting plastic out there. But I'm not telling you that this flies better than a straight flying putter. It flies like a straight flying putter. To say it flies better would be, I'm just going to be honest. I made a video where I mentioned, like, for example, I've said on videos about how these discs fly that this is not torque resistant to hard sidearms. I made a video where I talked about the Cardinal and said it's an overstable mid-range disc. If you only own one mid-range, this is a bad choice.
Yeah.
So I'm honest. Like, I'll continue to be honest. I think the owl is potentially a disc that puts us on the map. It's different.
Can I ask a question? You don't have to answer it.
Okay.
But I'm gonna ask one question, and you can say yes or no. Is it fast or slow?
It's slow.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very interesting. I'm very excited now. I'm
Yeah,
very excited.
It's something that is it's different. It fills a niche. I don't think any disc fills like it. I really truly. And I'm hoping. I mean, the only benefit from a business standpoint for me to talk about what discs don't do well is that I hopefully have established a credibility when I say, oh my God, I'm not going to say this about every disc we put out. Every disc is not going to be, this is the game changer. I'm saying the owl is the game changer.
Okay.
Nice.
It's going to be special.
I'm very excited.
If the market agrees, that's the thing about the market.
Yeah.
I can't make them agree or disagree. The market decides for itself.
Yep.
Totally.
But
Wait,
if it does,
Some people love throwing things like the tilt. And that has its purpose, but also, like, I don't know. I couldn't.
it's meant to be thrown upside down.
Yeah.
I can throw that thing 450 feet upside down.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Summer or
thumber.
okay.
Yeah.
I tried throwing it. Somebody told me how to, like, they gave me a different, not the tilt, but they said to hold it kind of like you're throwing it upside down, and almost throw it on like hyzer and it flips up.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And sure enough, flipped straight up and then just came out.
Yeah. That's how I throw it.
It's wild. I don't understand it.
Yes. Cool. What else do we have on the list? Did we hit everything?
I think we hit everything. Oh, Ian wanted to know your approach to new courses. So when you go somewhere, and we're both newer to disc golf, 3-4 years out doing competitions. What's your biggest advice to playing somewhere new?
I mean, look, it depends on what your goals are. Like depending on what your goals are, one of them is just to enjoy the experience and take it all in and enjoy. That's obviously for certain players. If you're there to compete, the goal is to just learn the course as best as you possibly can. I have an online class called Become a Complete Disc Golfer at scottstokely.net, and we spend an entire class talking about new course preparation.
Okay.
So it's worthy of an hour's conversation, because you need to learn the course, but there's so much to learn. Everything from the type of terrain that you're on to the distances of trees and out of bounds and why you need to throw shots and repeat throws and memorize distances, and you can't trust tee signs, and like you just have to, and when to listen to locals and when to ignore them, and when but just learning the whole. I mean, the more you learn, more information is always better. Anyone that thinks that having too much information hurts them is incorrect. That's completely false. And that is basically someone gets that in their head, and then they have a good round or a bad hole, and then confirmation bias kicks in, and everything that reinforces the idea that not knowing the hole or the course well is a benefit. It's not the case. Knowing the course is always better, for sure. And so really it's just a matter of getting there and getting the time and throwing the shots. For sure.
Awesome. I'll have to look up that course or that online course that you have.
It's what I'm most proud of in the sport. I mean, as far as teaching, it's 6-month class called Become a Complete Disc Golfer. It's at scottstokely.net. It's not just a bunch of videos and drills. That's like YouTube. It's an interactive class. There's live classes. I have three teachers, instructors that have been with me for several years who are the best in the business at teaching disc golf. They have no equals. I mean, they're I guess I'd be an equal because they're teaching my method, but they're my equals. And throughout the class, you're uploading videos constantly and getting professional form reviews from them and getting sent back out to work on the thing, and then you upload a video again. So it's like getting one-on-one instruction. It's just an online class, which means it doesn't happen in real time. But you're still throwing, being told what to do, making changes, throwing, being told what to do. It's a process instead of a get together for an hour or two.
Totally.
Oh, it's unbelievable what these guys do. They're so good. And so, but half of the class is physical skills, sidearm, putting, backhands, utility shots, and then half the class is strategy, building a bag, disc collection, wind play, rain play, mental strategy, tournament preparation, cross training, all that, everything else.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, it's everything. It's like I said, it's what I'm most proud of in the sport, and it's so yeah, we spend a full day on just basically preparing for tournaments.
Dang,
there's a lot. There's a lot to it, but it matters.
No, it definitely does. I don't know, sometimes I just like going out there and playing a course blind and just letting the disc do what it what it does, and just
it does. But
you're right.
You
will over time. I always play better at the local course.
You always will better. I mean, local play, it's actual, like there's data. You're about 3 strokes better on a home course.
Yeah.
And that data is based on players' ratings home and away from the course, and what like you can actually quantify that. It's about 3 strokes around is typical. Now, a top player has a smaller home course advantage because a top player can adapt more and just learn shots and learn distances.
Yeah.
You shoot it with a laser, you see how far the hole is, you know exactly how far 375 feet is and what to throw in. So there's a bigger difference between amateur players who are not as skilled, but then they learn certain shots.
Totally.
But it's still a measurable amount if it's your home course.
Totally.
For sure.
Wow.
Cool. Scott, we do one thing every week. This week you got Dave's week. We pick a disc that has either come out lately, that we have been enjoying throwing lately, or just a random disc. And I haven't thrown your discs yet. I'd really love to soon. But Dave, your disc of the week, sir, to the
Yeah.
people.
This week is the MVP Hex. Axiom Hex?
I think it's technically Axiom.
Axiom. I've had one in my bag for a while, and then I kept losing them because I threw them so often. Finally put one back in my bag, and I'm like, yeah, I've been missing that like very straight mid range because I've been throwing like overstable mids on a lot of like anti shots or stuff like that because I can trust it in the wind. I mean, did you guys get that same windstorm like 2 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
It was 60-mile-an-hour gusts down in Vegas.
Yeah, it was.
That was
I didn't go outside.
That's great.
yeah.
Oh,
We've
I
been
mean-
playing a lot of disc golf recently in open, windy courses out here, and
Have you ever heard of Beacon Hill?
I don't know.
it's a small little course near
35.
Art Die.
45 minutes south, probably 10, 15 minutes north of Art Die.
Okay.
In this little community, and it's a funky course. Your first like 6 shots are just for us, full power shots,
600
Nice.
feet over a soccer field.
kind of shots.
Like,
Really? Just totally.
yeah.
And every time we play there, it's been like consistent 20 to 25 to 30 mile an hour headwind
Right.
into every shot, and I'm just like, this is a par 4 in this wind. Like I can't throw a disc 600 feet into a headwind. I can barely throw a disc like
350.
350 most days. So it's been interesting, but coming back to Creekside and like some of these other courses that aren't as windy, it's like, oh right, I remember how to throw discs. So.
Yeah. And one of the places I love throwing like straight mid ranges is in the mountains here. Like Solitude and Brighton are big mountain courses because they'll fly 500 feet downhill, just hold a
Really?
slope angle. Yeah. Because we have so much elevation change where it's, 300-400 feet of elevation change on a hole, like just going downhill. You just want to kind of throw something that doesn't want to dump left or right. Something that just glides straight.
Mm-hmm.
And so having those like a straight putter or, straight mid ranges are fantastic up here in the mountains.
And even going like from Solitude, the top of Solitude, to the bottom, your discs are gonna fly differently
Right.
because you're throwing
3,500 feet of elevation change.
throughout 18 holes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You drop 3,500 feet in 18 holes.
Yeah.
Do you take a chairlift up or something like that?
Yep.
And play
You
down,
take chairlift up, or you can hike up
and then you play down.
and you
Yep.
play down. And then
Hole 18 is a par 4, 1,400 feet. And it plays straight down.
Oh, I've seen that hole.
Yeah.
It's reachable.
Yep, it's reachable. It's one of the local pros here. What is his name? He's got a big beard. He used to play a couple pro tour events, but never full time touring. Justin Bilodeau.
Yes. Thank you.
He always throws a putter on it, and I remember the one year I played Solitude Open, he was 12 feet with a putter off the tee
Really?
on a 1,400 foot par 4.
The video of Simon or Eagle playing Solitude Open in 2018, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 700-foot par 4 that he put 15 feet from the basket.
Right.
Just downhill, just full S flight. Like, getting someone to do a full S in that elevation is insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love playing the mountain courses. I mean, have you had a chance to play a lot of bigger mountain disc golf?
Yeah. No, the course that started the mountain courses globally was the course on top of Aspen Mountain,
Okay.
and I physically drove the baskets up to the top of that course.
That is awesome.
And I got the first ace, so I had an ace at 12,000 feet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or 11,200, something like that. It was the highest elevation ace in the world. I don't know if it's been beaten, but I assume it has. That was like 20 years ago.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
there's it's hard to do on a lot of the mountains.
Well, it was
because-
hole 2, so if hole 1 had been aced,
Yeah, okay, it
that-
would have
that
been
would've
higher.
higher.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's. But no. I mean, I brought those courses, and so I used to play. I played. It was Kiss the Sky.
Okay.
I think I played it 5 times. I think I won it all. No, I did win it every time I played it. But that was on top of Aspen Mountain, so I did play that. And then they put a course on top of the mountain in Gestalt, Switzerland, which is their version of Aspen. And then Yeah, but it started, to the best of my knowledge, Aspen was the first mountain course. Because that was the big thing in Colorado, is that we knew the ski resorts all were perfect prime disc golf, but like no one wanted disc golf back then.
Yeah.
And as soon as Aspen, as soon as Aspen put a course in, it all of a sudden was like, we want a course too. Aspen has a course.
Yeah.
Like,
That's awesome.
it had to be like Aspen.
Totally.
It was Aspen. It's Aspen.
Totally. Last question for you, then we'll let you go.
Yep.
Where can the people find you, find your discs, find your website, all that?
They can find me, at the local tavern, drowning my sorrows in a sarsaparilla. Wait, sarsaparilla, is that alcohol?
Diets.
No.
Or sarsaparilla alcohol?
No, it's root beer.
Is that root beer?
Yeah. Well, root beer is made with sarsaparilla.
Oh, okay. That's actually accurate then. I'd be drinking diet sarsaparilla. They can find me at in any, just search for my name in Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, of course. You can buy my discs at StokelyDiscs.com. We also wholesale, which is a big, obviously that's the big thing, is to get into pro shops. And so definitely reach out to me if you want to carry Stokely discs. They're selling like crazy. I'm very active in my marketing.
Yeah.
They're not going to not sell. It's not like it. Nothing against any of the smaller companies. I hope every one of them succeeds. But if you buy a smaller company's discs, if you're not proactively trying to sell them out of your shop, then they need to be marketing the hell out of them, or else people don't know they're there.
Yeah.
So with my discs, I am marketing the hell out of them. So if you're a pro shop and you carry them, they will sell without you doing anything, and then hopefully you promote them as well. But independent of that, I'm marketing. So if you carry my discs, they'll sell. That's the point. They're not going to, sit on the shelf and gather dust for sure.
Totally.
But StokelyDiscs.com is
Awesome.
the place to go.
Cool. Well, Scott, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Dave, glad you made it this week.
I know. I was
Thank you
out
for
of town with family and made it back around 6-7 o'clock this afternoon. So
Glad you're here.
Yeah,
So.
and I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching,
Thanks everybody.
and we will see you later.